All right, this week in the news, little surprise PAX announcement. Mitchell Dyer, talk to me.
Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell was announced alongside a Xbox One edition of Saints Row 4.
That's a Meatloaf reference.
What?
The bell.
That's not.
You're abusing the bell, and now I abstain from this conversation.
The bell, man, that needs to go.
It's a Saints Row standalone expansion for 360 and Xbox One, starring Johnny Gat.
And you can be Johnny Gat or
what's her name?
Krista?
The other character. Has she been in all three?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is her name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something with a K or a C.
Are we part of the problem right now?
Probably part of the problem. I'm part of the problem just because I don't remember anything.
Kinsey.
Thank you.
Boom. You kinsed.
So it takes place in the city of Hell. It is an open world game set in Hell. Johnny Gat's got wings. It's basically just a way to have more Saints Row 4 without making an actual Saints Row game.
Well, that's what a standalone expansion is.
Yeah.
Like, Undead Nightmare from Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. I'm profoundly not interested in Gat Out of Hell.
I mean, so here's the deal. And we're not even, there are more of these. There are 1, 2, 3 more of these to talk about.
Y'all love HD remakes? Hope so. Welcome to Next Gen.
Yeah. It feels like we talk about it every week, and I feel like it's getting worse.
We talked about this last week about doing HD collections, and is it like justifiable to have games that are like new coming out again and kind of reusing assets for?
In the specific context of Saints Row, at least in the Xbox One version of this, there's something new. It's not just Saints Row 4 ported over. There is a carrot on the end of the stick to be like, well, if I already bought this on 360, okay, you're at least giving me some substantial new content. Unlike, say, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round,
a game I didn't know
I'll just skip right to
existed.
Spring 2015, announced in a pre-TGS conference in Japan.
Didn't even hear about this before this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did I. How are they not on Dead or Alive 6 by now? Feels like DOA 5's been
How are they
around
not
for
on
a
this
while.
series? It doesn't matter anymore.
Well, since the movie killed, I mean.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Pardon me if you guys covered this last week, but this is now, the more of these, I'm not singling out The Last of Us saying it's good or bad, but that Last of Us Remastered, which has been obviously a focal point of the fanboy war, for better or for worse, was sold. It was the #1 selling game.
Sure.
When it debuted, and it sold millions of copies. So what that does is what we're doing, whether we agree with it or not, what the gaming world is doing is telling publishers that this is totally okay.
Sure, there's a next gen bubble. It's going to keep growing, or we keep getting more and more of these. And
I mean, this week's news is 4 of our 6 items in our news section on here are. Remember that game you played?
Play it again. In
Yep.
1080p.
Spend $50 more on it.
$60 more
Have fun.
on it.
Ugh.
I don't know.
So I mean, Gat Out of Hell. You guys saw it at PAX.
People care about it. The video did gangbusters on
it was
IGN.
yeah. It was. What did Marty? What do you think of this?
I mean, I've never been a huge Saints Row fan.
Yeah.
What I like that this game is doing is making just getting around the world seem very interesting. I thought Saints Row 5 did that pretty well. You're in the
future.
Saints Row 4. Sorry, Saints Row 4 did that pretty well.
Marty!
Oh, you guys, did I break the embargo? IGN first, Saints Row 5 gets announced a week after the... Saints Row 4, by giving you superpowers, very quickly made traversing that city fun. I didn't quite like the things I was doing in the city, but I liked maneuvering around that city. It made the idea of cars seem silly. You never want to drive a car again. And this game sort of expands upon that by giving you wings, and so not only can you glide, but you can actually sort of fly.
Can't
Is
you
it
also
sponsored by Red
run
Bull?
up the side
Yeah,
of buildings
so
and
you can
stuff?
fly,
Yeah.
and then you can run up the side of a... Is it sponsored by Red Bull? I
It
don't
gives
know.
you wings.
God, just
Where's the bell?
get F. No, what's the opposite of a bell?
Do not hit that bell.
It's like a gong. And then a stick comes out and pulls you,
know
off
what it is?
stage.
It's
you get booed out the Apollo.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Saints Row as a series. 4 lost me because I loved Saints Row as a
crime game.
as a silly crime game grounded in something real, which I think it nailed to perfection with 3.
It's like it was the Evil Dead thing, right? Where it starts out and it's the first Evil Dead comes out and it thinks it's
serious,
this serious horror movie, and it's just dumb as balls.
Yeah.
So they embrace it in the sequel, and Saints Row 2 is a little more silly. It's still, still like, oh man, we need to be like hard like GTA, but we're having fun with it. And Gat is like a dumb character. But by Saints Row 3, they perfected what they really needed.
The Army of Darkness of the Saints Row formula,
where it's full on just idiocy. Where it's
it's Kanye West's power as you're
leaping out of a helicopter into a
but I almost feel like Saints Row 3 is Evil Dead 2, whereas we're getting to the point now where this is Army of Darkness, where this is taking it and pushing it so far that it's something different.
See, but I like the power fantasy of 3 more than I liked it in 2 because it was over the top, but it was still like, oh, we're still doing
it's believable.
It's grounded stuff, silly stuff. But yeah, you're totally
so that's what I'm saying. I
think
that's
Army
great.
of Darkness is like way out there, like teleported to another land.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is Saints Row 4 and this Meatloaf thing.
The difference is Ash is an interesting character and the boss is not. Like, it's just a dumb video game avatar that isn't interesting or it doesn't have any personality, and the characters around you do, but watching them like become superheroes or aliens or whatever,
or Keith Davids,
I just don't care. Like, that is not
player.
Like, what makes Saints Row interesting to me isn't the absurd like super powery stuff you're doing. It's doing silly things in the context of a gang war. And now you're in hell as a dead gangster with that open.
With wings.
I just don't care.
They can fly around.
I think it's funny.
I
but
feel
I do not think I will ever play this.
I feel like that Volition, the developer, longtime developer of Saints Row, obviously, that they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with this series. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying Gat Out of Hell's bad. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in it, and it might turn out to be super fun. But I kind of feel like 3 was where I wanted them to be, just personally, where I was most interested in Saints Row. And now they've gone to a place where I don't know if I'm prepared to follow.
Yeah, I don't know. They had weird stuff in 3, like the Tron bike stuff, but
those were within. There was contextual
it was
logic
like
for
dumb
those.
Computer program stuff. But now it's like
you were a toilet in that computer simulation. By the way, you were literally playing as a toilet.
See, it's hard for me to take something seriously if it's, and not that the devs don't take it seriously, but if that seems to be the case, like if they don't take it seriously.
It's just such a bummer that Saints Row 5 can never be the game that I want it to be.
What is the game you want it to be?
I want it to be Saints Row 3 2. Like,
I'm with you.
3 + 2 =
3 + 2 = 5. Boom. But it's going to be, like, no matter what they do, right? Like, you do not
don't hit
touch
the
that
bell.
Now, if they do that, if they go back to being just a crime game, it's going to be regressive for them. It's not going to be, well, how do we do bigger, better, more crazy, wacky, fun time stuff? It's, well, now we're a crime game and we have, like, the new Kanye song. And that's not going to be enough because the expectation now is stupider stuff constantly.
But we do get entertainment franchises always get to a point where they get too bloated and too big, and eventually they reboot and sort of get back to the basics.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
when are we getting to that point?
Yeah, I mean,
Saints
everyone
Row?
sort of is waiting for Call of Duty to go back to World War II at some point. Yeah, I feel like that gaming can be very cyclical, especially if we've gone a few generations.
I mean, look at Doom. Doom has now come full circle.
Yeah.
Granted, it's only over the course of. This is the 4th game.
I was going to say, and it only took them rebooting Doom 4 or 5 times.
That's the path is a strange one, but nevertheless, we had the first 2 Dooms were classic. 10 years later was Doom 3, which went in a different, survival horror-y kind of direction.
Spooky closets.
Yeah, monster closets. And then through numerous bits of drama and many years, we are now getting back to a Doom reboot where it's back to the basics, the core fundamentals of what made Doom in the first place.
Just want another notch in my Doom belt. Speaking of notch,